Look good.
All right, what the heck is up, guys? Welcome to the garage. Today, it's like Christmas time here. I stopped at the Powerstroke World headquarters yesterday, and I picked up quite a nice care package. All right, so anyways, really quick, Black Friday is upon us. Now, I don't know what day this is actually gonna go live, but Black Friday will be live Thanksgiving Day at 4 p.m. That is when all the Black Friday sales will be live on the website, Shop Modern Diesel. You can hit the first link in the description. It'll take you straight there. Also, we are doing the giveaway with SPE. It is an epic deal. I guess if you're seeing this, it is released and it is launched. So check it out. Any SPE part you purchase on my website, Modern Diesel, will get you entered to win that giveaway. Very cool. So as of right now, the sale is gonna run from today, which is Thanksgiving, until Cyber Monday. And if it's going good, we might extend it. We might not, I don't know. You guys, I'll let you know. All right, guys, so check this out. So we have the Platinum running. It's running freaking awesome. It's running super good. We did a transmission relearn. The relearn went flawlessly. The truck shifts perfectly smooth. We'll have a video on that coming soon. But today what we're doing is we're working on the single cab, making the single cab great again. I don't know when it was actually great. Maybe when it was crispy, brand new, right off the dealer lot. But today we're making it happen. So first things first, box number one, there's probably three tiers. There's probably three tiers of stages over there. Stage one, today. So check this out. Now this is actually, technically you could call this kind of like an industry first, like a first, kind of deal for the 11 to 14 trucks. That truck's a 2011. Yes, it has the bad turbo, and yes, it does currently rip. Oh. So check this out. Wow. All right, so if you haven't guessed it, what we're doing today is the intercooler piping on a 2011 to 2014 6.7 Powerstroke. So before I show you that, check this out. Okay, it's pretty heavy. This here is we could call this a 2015 plus 6.7 Powerstroke factory turbo. Now the factory ones look slightly different because this is the built modified with a different wheel and the machine front housing. But essentially from exterior wise, that is what they look like. They have your standard inlet tube here where the air comes in from your intake to the center, and then you have your hot side pipe where compressed air comes out of there. So there you go, a standard turbo. Now what Ford did in 2011 to 2014, they went a little against the grain with the factory turbo. So the factory turbo being here, this turbo has, as you can see on the top side, it has a secondary inlet port for fresh cold air. Now when it's sucking in air, it has essentially two ways it pulls in. Now internally in there, it's basically a dual stage compressor wheel. So you got a front side and a rear side, and it spins it kind of dual boost setup. I don't know if I'm butchering that in technical terms, but essentially that's what I'm pretty sure is going on. They have borderline instant boost, instant throttle response, and they just feel like they're just ripping your face off, especially when tuned up a little bit. Now the problem with these turbos is that whenever they have excessive heat and they have excessive spin, meaning you tune them up a little hot and you're running them a little harder, they tend to, have a little bit of issues. But truck's going strong at 140 some thousand and we rip it. So to accommodate that turbo, you can't just have your standard single inlet tube coming from intake out here, intake filter, through the tube to the center of the turbo. You just can't have that because there's two ports. Okay, so what the heck do you do? How do you go about making a dual inlet thing with the top side and the bottom side? Like what are we doing? Mad scientist Dan was at it again. Look at this apparatus here. Check this thing out. Now this, if you'd see this sitting on the bench, you just walked in here and just like you weren't, you didn't know what we were doing that day, and you just kind of cruised in here and you're looking at this thing, you'd be like, what in the world is that? Like I couldn't even tell you what this is if I wasn't familiar with it. It's a goofy looking piece. And if you can't tell what's going on from my past explanation of what the 11 to 14 style turbo looks like, if you can't tell what's going on here, then so here you go. Here's the lower intake tube to the turbo for 11 to 14 power strokes. You have your top side, which goes to the top side of the turbo, bottom side, which goes to the standard center of the turbo, like so. So this is what we're working with on the 11 to 14 style. This comes off of your factory intake or an S&B or an SPE or whatever you're running for intake. Hooks right to their factory position. So this is interesting. Now, a lot of you may ask, dude, why wouldn't you just upgrade the turbo on that truck? Why are you gonna run that turbo still? It runs so good. That 2011 single cab with a tune only, or an intake too. Tune and an intake. Man, it freaking runs really good. So, we gotta make under the hood look cool with some intercooler piping, and you can't do that. And I wanted to keep the factory turbo. Here's our option. This is the answer. Okay, so the main task here is to get the engine bay of the single cab together. In order to do that, we have a select few parts here. So step one, CCV reroute. This is going to get rid of that big ugly CCV box and get the engine, you know, breathing free and clear. Step two, the main part to all this is obviously the intercooler piping. You can see the intake manifold, the cold side, the hot side factory one on these trucks is actually pretty big. This kit will actually retain the hot side. We have also a coolant reroute. Now this, I will show you when we get into it. The coolant lines, they kind of route over all this on the factory truck. You know, you got lines coming up and over to different things, and whenever you do intercooler piping, it doesn't look ideal to have all those lines running over. So coolant reroute puts all the nice, tucks them underneath of everything, and you can't see them. And then also, I forgot to mention, we do have an internal catch can. This goes underneath of the CCV outlet hose to catch any oil that might try to come through there. So JB's starting on pulling the intake. In order to achieve what we're trying to achieve, all of this has to come out. I mean, we're talking everything. Upper intake manifold, lower intake tube, that. Hot side we're gonna pull to get the CCV box out because it's underneath. You can see that big black box right there. Cold side has to go. This is the cold side adapter that goes to the throttle body housing. Check out that. CCV much? Okay, so intakes off, cold side and hot side are out. We got the top intake manifold out. Check this out. I mean, that is a combination of exhaust gas and crankcase oil. So that's coming up, that comes out of your exhaust, mixes right there, comes up into the top, and then goes into the engine. Look at the oil just on the rim. So that's driver side, and then passenger side. That's what your truck's breathing on. I mean, for this being 11, it's not terrible.
True. That's 12 years of sort.
Yeah, it's 12 years of build up. I don't know if this has ever been a part. 11 years of build up. I don't know if this has ever been a part. This truck's a 2011, so I mean, there you go. Just showing you guys what it's about. All right, so now we're gonna work to pulling the lower intake tube to the turbo, which is this piece. You have your upper port that goes to the top side of the turbo, lower port that goes to the center of the turbo. JB's working on some coolant lines over there. And yeah, we're just cruising right along. All right, guys, check this out. I swear to you that I see this all the time. I had a nest in the Platinum like this, and there's one in here now. Check that out. So down in the valley under that intake manifold that goes to the turbo, you have this perfect spot where you can just make a nest, cozy little warm nest. Like JB was just saying, how does that not catch on fire? I mean, you have two exhaust manifolds right there and right there, and then you have obviously valley of the engine. It's just smoking hot, like probably like the hottest point, and it don't catch on fire. That's like premium fire starter. Now you can see what I was talking about on the 2-port deal. You got your main center turbo inlet, which is normal, and then you have your secondary top one, which is not normal. So 1, 2. All right, guys, about half an hour has passed, maybe a smidge more. Now, if you know what I'm talking about here, those notorious bolts that go in there, right there, okay? These bolts on this thing, okay? So those are notorious for breaking. They break off into the exhaust manifold. Now check out this bolt here. So you can see how jacked the tip of this bolt was. So you can see how it was so bad towards the end. So, you know, you break it free, you think you're home free, you're pulling it out, you're like, oh, dude, not happening to me, not today. And then you get to this point, you know, that gets a little higher up into the threads in the manifold, and your bolt shears off, and then you're stuck. Map gas, PB blaster, and WD-40, and a hammer, and you just gotta work it. You just gotta take your time and work it. If it feels like it's in a bind, heat it some more, hit it with some more PB, hit it with some more WD, tap it with the hammer. What I do is I put the socket and the extension on the bolt, like it'll be on the bolt, okay? And I'll tap the back side of the extension. I'll take the extension off of the ratchet, and I'll hit the back of the extension with the hammer after you heat it and spray it and heat it and spray it, and you just gotta take your time. I mean, this was a pretty bad. This was the worst bolt I've ever seen. You can see how the threads are almost smashed, and then they get bigger. This would have broke if we wouldn't have took our time. All right, guys, so we're on to the coolant reroute. So the coolant reroute makes the engine bay look very, very nice whenever you're gonna do like intercooler piping or whatever. So first things first, there's this hard line here that comes out. It comes up and over, and it hits a T, and it comes over and does all this crazy stuff, more T. So there's basically a big coolant line running everywhere. Right when you open the hood, that's like right in your face. So picture the intercooler piping on here. This is right in your face. Goes back along the firewall, hooks in back behind there to the heater core, and it just looks way, way not cool if you're doing piping. So factory, this line comes off over here also, comes across, hits a 90, hits a T, goes to the bottle, and then it ties into the rest of the stuff over there. We want to eliminate that. So the SPE coolant reroute gives you a new small line here that hooks back into that. It hooks right into the place of the factory line. It'll run straight across the cowl here, just like this, the front of the engine. It goes up and it 90s, just like so, and it'll hook right into the coolant bottle like that. So that's what the little line looks like. And then the big line, which is right here, pull out the hard line, you get a fitting with a flared end on it. So the hose goes onto that fitting, hose clamp. Hose will run up, tuck right around on top of the valve cover, go back, down the engine wall, down the firewall, and hook to the heater core. So here's how it kind of will look. You kind of got to tuck it in like that. It'll sit just like that. And then this comes around, and it'll hook right to your fitting that takes the place of this factory hard line. Very, very simple, very nice, and a crucial piece that everyone skips. Everyone skips the coolant reroute. So you pop the hood, you got nice intercooler piping, and you got that huge riser of a coolant line and T's and stuff running everywhere, and plugs, and you're capping one end, and it just doesn't look good. You're doing all this work, you can't skip the coolant reroute. So looking at the bench here, this is the hard line adapter that slides in where the factory hard line is. You slide your new hose over that end with a hose clamp. That's how you hook up the big line. And then on the firewall side, you have a barbed end. So you slide your hose on, push it on, and then this will slide on factory Ford connection onto the firewall. So that's big line side. And then you have all of your supplied clamps and whatever you might need to get that together. So guys, don't skip the coolant reroute. All right, so check this out. Look at this thing, dude. This is crazy. So this goes in. This is your dual intake deal. So that's gonna sit on there.
Snap-on line?
So check this out. Wow. That honestly fits very nice. Both of those things are flush against the turbo. So that's how that will look. Boom, and then this is factory location for, you know, whatever, factory intake, S&B intake, whatever you're running, SPE intake, boom, it'll slap right on there, and you're running. All right, so I'm debating, before I put this on, to polish the SPE, you know, like flapper wheel that off, and then polish it so it's like literal mirror, just the SPE. I think that would look pretty sick. Or should we leave it to stealth black? I don't know. So this sits in there, just like that. You have your hose, your intake, lower intake deal. Wow, dude. Can you get in on that? You getting in on that?
I'm trying to see how like open it looks.
Dude, that's pretty wicked. Not gonna lie. And you can see how the, you know, the heater core hose comes, it'll come off the fitting right there, wraps right around the outside, tucks in real nice, so you have no big hose staring at you. We snipped it right here, so we got to take that off the firewall and we'll hook it up. But that, we're just getting a mock-up deal right now so we can check it out. That looks cool. So if we have a polished SPE up there, you know, the 3 letters SPE, it'll match the cold side. Really nice. Like, I think we're gonna do it. So this fits right in here, like that. We have to trim off this tab on the fan shroud. There's a tab right here for the old mounting deal for like one of the coolant lines or something. We're gonna cut that off. What do you think? Should we polish the SPE? Dude, the single cab is about to be sick.
I think you should polish it.
Polish the SPE?
Yep.
All right, guys, so there's the mock-up on the piping. That's what it's gonna look like. It's gonna be sick. Next step we're gonna do is we're gonna take the CCV box and we're gonna address that. We're gonna do that whole thing. So you just lift that box right out, and then you have the 2 fittings that go in the holes where the box was, and then you have 1 hose that comes off the rear one, and you route that down. We usually route it under the driver's side, right in front of like the driver's side door. So when you're at the drive-through window at Starbucks, your crankcase vent gas goes up right into the drive-through window, and the girls in the window like freak out. They like think your truck's on fire or something. But all right, that's it for today. That's it for this video. We're gonna wrap this up here. So you guys wanna see the finished product, stay tuned for next video. It's gonna be absolutely sick. The truck's gonna rip. Don't forget, Black Friday starts today, 4 o'clock. Today, 4 o'clock. I'm not sure what time this video is going live, but 4 o'clock today. Every SPE product purchase gets you entered to win the sick giveaway. All the information linked in the description. Best time of the year to buy truck parts. Not even trying to be super salesy. Just, it's the best time to buy truck parts. It's just a fact. But all right, that's it, guys. Stay tuned for the next video. We're gonna wrap up the single cab, and we have a ton more parts sitting physically right there. Some for the Platinum, some for this also, which we might cover here very soon, or we might wait a little. I don't know. You're just gonna have to keep an eye out. So we'll see you in the next one. Peace.